O comboio Alfa, CP Comboios de Portugal, procedente de Lisboa, Santa Apolónia e com destino a Braga, que deverá dar entrada na linha número 1. Circula com um atraso de 5 minutos. A sua hora prevista de chegada é às 16 horas e 15 minutos. Pedimos a vossa compreensão pelos incômodos causados. Dentro de minutos, dará entrada na linha número 1. O comboio.
Tremendo de Darwin Nunes é o que abriu o marcador. Os adeptos acreditam. A luz pode voltar outra vez. E a luz hoje quem vai gritar o gol. Se a bola entrar, vão ser os adeptos. Eu depois vou acompanhar. Ele vai atirar. Ele vai atirar. Ele vai atirar. Ele vai atirar.
And as always, that just intro gets you hyped. You know what I mean?
It does.
Yeah, we're back with another Benfica After 90. Today, I'm with my guest Sergio. Man, I appreciate you on short notice. I really do.
No worries. I got two kids over here, so they're gonna stay quiet, right, guys? They're just.
It's all
You
good.
got it? Yeah. Okay. So you won't see them in the background. I've got this sexy boy over here in the background. So.
Oh yeah, I remember. No, we'll never forget that slide. That was an amazing
2019.
moment. Yeah, we could have used another moment like that today in the Taca, but
Indeed.
we're definitely going to get into it, man. I think the name of the show today is fitting for how a lot of people felt about it. I'm going to try to be some voice of reason. I know Sergio is going to have his opinion on it, and that's basically why we're doing the show today.
Yeah.
So Sergio, man, we watched the game today. Just really quick, just initial thoughts on the game before I go through the starting lineup and all of that.
Well, I mean, initially I thought it was, obviously for the first 20, 30 minutes, it was exciting for us because we dominated play. We got in the lead, and it was a far different attitude to this game compared to the one after Christmas for the Liga, right? So that game, everyone knows we lost 3-0. We are very, very much suffering from post-World Cup syndrome. I guess that's what they call it. But basically, we're rusty. So I was glad that we came in. We weren't afraid. We came in attacking well, distributed the ball really well, and got that first goal off of a corner with Arsenis and Nedge, right? A short corner. And I thought everything was pretty. And then I go upstairs, I put the game on my phone, and I see a yellow. I'm like, oh shit. And then everyone's just standing around. I'm like, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. They're going to VAR, aren't they? And when I saw the replay, I'm like, yeah, he's getting sent off for sure. And again, it was the right call. But, I was feeling really well going into this game, and, the team showed up for it. And then after that red card, it just kind of fell apart, right?
Yeah. I agree with you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the lineup of who lined up today for us. I'm going to start between the pipes with Blakadimus. Oh, man, we're going to get into him, man. I got a lot of questions. I just got to get it out. You know what I mean? Our back line was Grimaldo, Otamendi, Silva, and Ba. Chiquinho and Florentino Luis. In the midfield, Arsenis, Neres, João Mario, and Gonçalo Guedes was in the final third for us today. I was very happy to see this lineup. First of all, Sergio, just going into the game, we didn't make no changes. I thought that it was just not just about the Taça, but about, like you said, about the performance that we had versus them coming back from the World Cup. So I think that was a good move from Roger. We're going to go with our best. This is important to us. And we did play for this, so it wasn't like, you know what I mean. We didn't come in. We went into this,
and like to contrast that,
like we said last
yeah,
weekend.
and to contrast that, Braga didn't even start Ricardo Horta, their best player, right? So, I was glad to see that lineup. He didn't really change it, even though Rafa and Gonzalo Ramos had recovered from their injury. Everyone thought, okay, then that probably means that they're going to be returning to the starting 11. But, lo and behold, he kept the same squad that he had out there for Casapia. So it was good to see that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And we've seen Roger be careful with his players coming back from injury. You know what I mean? If I'm not mistaken, Neres has been fed back in slowly. Gonzalo Ramos is going to be fed in back in slowly. That's just kind of Roger's, him protecting his players, and I don't have a problem with that. I have no problem.
He goes with the hot hand, right? He goes with the lineup that worked from last, right? So you can't blame him for that. There's a little bit of rotation happening there too, right? And you don't want to burn out your best players, your best 11. That's bit us before in previous years, especially with George Jesus, because he used to run players into the ground, playing them day in, day out. So, you do want to rotate some of your best players too, especially when you've got the bench that we do have, right? So I was okay with that. I'm definitely okay with that.
And then with the extra minutes, like you said, you want to rotate with the extra minutes that we had in the our players had in the World Cup. Gonzalo Ramos, and not so much Rafa, but Rafa also was another guy who was fed back in slow, exactly, right? Who was fed kind of back in slowly. So that's I have no problem with that. Speaking of lineups, really quick, we have to address the elephant in the room. PZ lined up across from us today, going into the game. Honestly, looking at him, for me, it was odd. It was weird seeing him even though I've seen him in that jersey before, it was a little weird for me seeing him line up against us. How'd you feel about seeing PZ over there?
We've seen him before. We've seen him before in that jersey, right?
Sure,
he's been part of that whole movement between Braga, Atletico Madrid, Benfica, all that stuff that used to happen in the past with George Mins. But it was a little weird. And I'll be honest with you, I was kind of worried that he would become our boogeyman. He'd come back from Qatar or from the dead, and he was one of the best finishers we had this decade, right? He always was. One of those guys who was calm and collective and just used to, appear when he needed to appear and slot in that important goal. So, I loved him when he was with us. Stayed a little too long for sure, but you can't fault him for his heart and his dedication to the club for those years that we were champions, right? So it was a little weird seeing him dress up for Braga, but that's what Braga does. They bring back, these, I don't know if you call it charity cases, but these
that's
resuscitating.
That's a good way to put it.
Guys who want to resuscitate their careers, like Bruma, right? Medeiros was one of them as well. There's been other guys in the past who have come back to play for Braga or go to Braga because they have this knack of resuscitating players or getting the most out of them when you think that they're kind of done or they haven't fulfilled their potential. So, someone like Bruma, I expect that he would probably excel at Braga if he's dedicated to it. So
for all my wrestling fans out there, they're very AEW. If you kind of in my mind, right? They go out and they go bring back the guy who was in WWF and then he wrestles, and now he's the star of the show. It's
well, let's talk about the old days of wrestling, maybe back in the 90s. They're probably the WCW used to bring in all the old stars, Hogan and Macho Man and
that's Braga. That's Braga. We'll call Braga the WCW. From now on, that's how we'll refer to them. They are WCW of the Portuguese Liga. But you know what? It's a good thing in my mind though, because I'm a fan of PZ. I don't hate PZ or anything like that. He might, like you said, we might have held on to him a little too long. That's not his fault. That's the brass upstairs. And it is what it is. I did want to address that, the PZ in the room, if you will. So real quick, I'm just going to go over the stat line. Benfica start the game. Like you said, Sergio, I think we came in this game with a mission. I think that's kind of why it hurts a little bit to me. the end result. But I think we came in with a mission saying that was a fluke, right? You beat us 3-0. It was a fluke. We're going to show you, what we can really bring. And we started off that way. Like you said, the first 25 minutes of the game, we get on the board in the 15th minute with a beautiful setup from the corner. Arsenis to Gonzalo Guedes bangs it in. And it's so funny if you look at him, he kind of just waits. Like he hits the ball and he kind of just waits for it to go in. It's a kind of a cool shot. Go in. A beautiful shot. Benfica go up 1-0. Now this is where I was kind of like in the middle, like I looked away kind of. Now gets the red card in the 31st minute. What confused me, Sergio, is it was a yellow. He showed a yellow first. Was already on the yellow?
No,
was he on a yellow already?
No, he gave him that. That was the first card for him. So he gave him a yellow, and then VAR communicated to Thiago Martins saying, "You need to look at this. It's probably a red card offense." And they went to VAR, and they turned it into a red, which is
right. So
they're right.
The yellow
That's what VAR is there for. Yeah.
Right.
He took
the yellow
he canceled out the yellow. Yeah. Gotcha. And then he gave him a straight red. So
gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let's just say, in your opinion, was it a red card?
Absolutely. I agree. He stomped on his ankle. I mean, he didn't do it on purpose. He missed a tackle. He missed it completely and got his ankle. And you know what? You get sent off for that, right?
Yeah.
What pisses people off, and I think Rui Costa was talking about this after the game in his post-match conference where he just kind of lit up. But, he even said himself, that red card's not disputable, right? It's absolutely not disputable. It's what came after that's pissing everybody off, right? It's what we call in Portuguese carteiros, right? Like carteiros. I just called it a mailman. But dual criteria.
Fucking Karl Malone is out there.
You know what I mean? But it's you have two different criteria for handing out these cards. That's what
I think that was
them. That's what
I think that was the right word for it, because the way that Benfica gets, it feels like yellow sometimes. It feels like the mailman has, is just out there delivering bad news all the damn time. Now, this is where I want to look. I have come on this show many a time and said, I am not the type of person who's going to sit here and be mad at the referees. I can't. I just have become used to it. It's like complaining that water. It's complaining like water's wet.
You're probably the Roger Schmidt of podcast announcers, because he was pretty calm considering what happened during his press conference. He obviously called out the error with the penalty that should have been called, on that tackle against Gonzalo Guedes. But he was pretty calm. He wasn't belligerent. Yeah. He didn't attack them.
He's not a belligerent man.
Exactly. He's a very calm man, considering the people that he has to deal with in the Portuguese league. He's a very calm person. It's very strange, to be honest.
And to be, no offense, German. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't bang. It's the new thing. Look, and what I mean by that, look, referees piss me off. Absolutely. Right. But at the end of the game, I'm the type of person who feels like, damn, we just didn't do. If we lose, I just feel like, damn, we just didn't do enough. You know what I mean? Like, we just didn't do enough to win in some cases. And I'm gonna be, just like I said, I'm gonna go against the grain. I have plenty to complain about. We have plenty of show left. But I'm just gonna go. I just want to show the stats real quick. Okay? We're just gonna show the stats. And I know this is arbitrary, right? Because it's just a snapshot and not when it happens. Okay. So I'm gonna share the screen real quick. And we're just gonna talk about a little bit. All right. Let me take a look here. Google search. Here we go. Okay. Look, here we go.
Yeah.
Sergio, if I'm looking at these, Braga, and now maybe this is where it might bother some people. Braga had 19 fouls today. 19 fouls compared to the 7 that Benfica got called for. Now, those were not good. This is very selective. This is very everybody can have their own opinion on this. It's just a snapshot. Again, 19 fouls for Braga, 7 fouls for Benfica, 6 yellow cards for Braga, 2 yellow cards for Benfica, and then 2 red cards. That looks the worst. But Morato was that was a boneheaded play. That's just dumb.
It's the end of the game. He figured second yellow.
I'm gonna get my
whatever.
licks.
You know what?
Yeah, I'm getting my lick.
Listen, I don't think anybody would have faulted. Who was it? Back in 2013. Was it Roderick? If he had tackled that Porto player, I don't even remember who it was, and stopped the play, then Calvin probably wouldn't have scored in 90 seconds.
That game.
So what Morato did was probably he could have probably saved the goal, right? So
right.
I excuse him for that.
Yeah, in that moment, but then you look at it again, and the fucking guy's he's on the bench already by the time he
he's like, you know what?
Yeah,
I'm guilty. I know I'm guilty.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't.
I was gonna take a penalty anyway, so fuck it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So again, and I want to get your guys' input in the chat, please, guys. We appreciate you guys. I know it's probably late for some of you guys where you guys are at, so we appreciate everybody. Caesar, Fabs, Benfica fan, Redman 21. Great name, Redman 21. Love that. Reigning Entertainment. What's going on, my brother? Thank you for joining us. So real quick, and I just want you to talk to that. So if I told you, if you went on if you didn't watch the game and you went on Twitter and you seen all Benfica fans complaining about the refs this, the refs that, and then you go, let me go see this, let me go check this something out, right? And you go look at the stats and you go, well, I mean, it's not like they didn't get called for any fouls. It's not like they didn't get handed out yellows. It was a red card that was called. I mean, that's a proper red card. What is it that the referees did? Is it the consistency that we're pulling out from all the other games? If we're saying, well, this happened to Sporting, this happened to Porto, oh, this happened to Porto then. Like, that's what we end up doing in my mind. That's why I completely... Yes, what we always do. So I completely forget about the refs. I say, fuck the refs.
I mean, we have this tendency now because everything's so accessible online, and you see, you can access videos quickly and pictures and images, and people quickly just go pull up previous games from our opposition and say, hey, look, the Porto guy stomped on whoever it was. See, he only got a yellow or didn't even get called. It's very easy for us to go back and criticize, right? That's very easy, right? I think what people are complaining about were the 2 obvious calls that got missed, right?
For Braga.
For Braga. So, the first one being the Gonçalo Guedes penalty in the area, right? So if we go to those images, you can see, I don't remember who it was, but his knee when it clashed into Gonçalo Guedes,
the back of his leg, absolutely,
the back of his leg, his calf, and brought him down. So should have been a penalty. And if you're going off of criteria of what's happened before in the past, you look at the game against Sporting and what Antonio Silva did to Paulinho, he crashed into the back of his leg, right? So people are now, whether it's right or wrong to compare those 2 instances, that's what people do.
That's what you have to
right?
go off of.
That's what, And of course, with this game, you had 2 occasions where you had a player stomping on someone's foot. One got a yellow, one got a red, right? So again, why isn't he even going to VAR to check out that challenge by the Braga player, right? So I mean, that's where it boils down to, is those 2 main plays that could have turned the game, right? Because be honest with you, considering we were down 10 men for 80 minutes, we held our own.
So glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that.
We held our own. And so I would say we couldn't have turned it around. If you go back to the stats, if you look at those stats without looking at those red cards, you would have thought,
well, we're killing them. Oh, we're killing them. We thought we'd have won.
It was pretty easy, even game, right?
Even game.
But now look at those stats and think about the fact that we played with 10 men for 80 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's crazy to look at that possession was pretty much even, bar a couple of points, right? Look at the yellows and for a Braga, so that's the problem with the Portuguese league and in general, right? It's different referees have different interpretations of the match rules, and people get upset, right? But that's I would argue, I watch a lot of EVPL. I absolutely. You have the exact same shit. Well, you have the exact same shit happening with the EPL, and that's even greater microscope. Just because not only do you have the English interested in the EPL, you have everybody around the world interested in and blogging about it and talking about it constantly. So they're even under a greater microscope, and those referees are even more criticized, right? So I think every league has their problems with referees. You just got to grin and bear it, and you would hope that the best team would win, right? So today it was. Listen, if this was a league game, we would have gone away with a point coming out of Braga, and people would have been happy. Had this been the result, forget about the penalties, but had we finished 1-1 after 90 minutes a couple weeks ago, people would have been happy, right? Yeah, especially having played with the man down from the 30th minute onwards. You stole a point from Braga in a very difficult stadium to play in, right? Yeah. You would have been happy. And it came down to the luck of penalties, right? Yeah. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Listen, guys, we could have easily not even reached this point. We could have lost to Caldas de Rainha a couple rounds ago on penalties as well. Did we deserve, after playing that match against Caldas de Rainha, did we deserve to move on? Probably not, because we played a shit game against Caldas, right? But we benefited from winning the luck of the draw, which are penalties. And today, Braga benefited from the luck of the draw of penalties, right? Yeah. It just comes down to that.
And I wanted to bring up that and have that conversation and tell you how I look at it, and kind of so that people understand that this is why we're upset, right? This is why the Benfica fans are upset. Like, you know what I mean? I just wanted to clarify in a way to, all right, this is what it looks like, and then you so eloquently explained it. This is why we're mad. You know what I mean? So I want people to understand that those are the two reasons why that Benfica fans are up in arms today, man.
And listen, it could have still resulted in the same result, right? You don't know. You go, a guy gets sent off, 10 against 10. You get that penalty call, it could have been saved or over the bar. You don't know, right? But I think people are a little upset because of what the possibility would have been given what you were seeing out of a team that was playing with 10 men. You're like, shit, if we had those calls called for us, we think that we would have pulled it off, right? Because we're playing well.
That's it right there, Sergio. That's where I was going with. Into the first 15 minutes, as soon as put that goal in, I'm feeling it. I'm like, oh yeah, Benfica's here. They're feeling the game. You could tell they were playing. I'll say this: Benfica played better than Braga in my mind for 120 minutes. That's that's serious in my mind. The way I looked at it, the way I watched the game, I could have watched the game on a flip phone, and I would have still felt that way. But Benfica were down a man, and this shout out to Luis, because Luis, I might even play his audio if I can in a little bit. What he said was basically, this is the big bad Braga that everybody is telling us that we got to watch out for. And Benfica went a man down for 60 minutes against this team. And by the luck of the draw, and we're going to talk about this, and we have to get to the penalty shootout. By the luck of the draw, Arsenis, if I'm not mistaken, misses another penalty. Well,
and I go back just to last year and against PSV in the second round, or the second leg of the Champions League playoff. We were down a man, and we held our own against PSV. And because of the type of tournament it is, you don't go into penalties. You just you qualify due to aggregate. But you went down a man. You soaked up all of PSV, who ironically were coached by Roger Smith at the time. You soaked up all that pressure. A couple of bars saved us. Flacodima saved our ass as well, right? Similar to this match. And you came away with a 0-0 draw that game. And, people will say, well, PSV had all the opportunities, dominated play, dominated possession. But people look back to that game saying that game was an awesome game by Benfica because they defended well, given the circumstances, and they showed garra, right? So, this could have been easily one of those games had we ended up winning on penalties.
You see that the same PSV team is killing it.
Exactly. You flip it around, and if we had won today 5-4, I'm sure people would have been talking about those two missed calls, but the tone would have been different. It would have been different. Guerreiros, not the Braga Guerreiros that we're also all used to hearing about, but the Benfica Guerreiros. They were down a man. They held their own for 80 minutes and they won on penalties. That's fucking bravo. grand performance. That's the type of player team we want, right? It would have been completely different, but just because of the luck of the penalties, it fell the other way today. So, I mean, it's so weird, but that's just soccer, right? Or football.
Football. Yeah. João Borges, appreciate you for joining us live, man. We appreciate it. Let's talk about the penalties, Sergio. Let's just get into it. Going into these penalties, all right. And now, at this time, I have my screen up, and I'm getting my hair cut. I bring my computer with me so I can watch the game, so I don't miss a moment. Right? Go get my hair cut. I'm watching it. As soon as we go to penalties, I look at my barber. I tell my barber, we're gonna lose, and he says, "Why?" I tell you this. And this is not me. This is not saying, oh, I don't believe. No, give me that bullshit. Odie, I've seen Odie save one penalty in his, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's 2, but it ain't more than 3. I'll tell you that shit right now. Odie can't save a penalty, save his life. Sergio, I don't even think he guessed the right side one time.
I was about to say that. I'm like,
once.
The best thing everyone could have done was just shot it down the middle, and he probably would have still guessed it the wrong way. They could have shot 5 times down the middle, and he still would have kept on diving.
I'm still here. I'm still here. The player could have fucking told him which way he was going, and he still would have went the other way. I just don't get it. I don't get it with this man. I think that's what it is. I have no confidence in him when it comes to these. And like you said, we could have lost. We could have lost the last match. I think I had no confidence with Odie, man. Not that I had no confidence Benfica can't put 5 past the keeper. I've seen them. I see them do. I've seen them do that. But Odie, I haven't seen this guy step up in a big time situation when a game is on him. What?
Well, so, you know what? Some players, I would compare him to a Block. A Block is the same way. He's a great shot stopper. He's probably one of the best. We all know he's one of the best keepers in the world. But saving a penalty, can't save a penalty for the life of him, right? So, Oblak is the same way. I guess there's just some keepers that are just not meant for penalty shootouts. Not like people like Emi Martinez, who gets in your face and dances and shouts at you and distracts you when he's playing for Argentina, right? He's just a mind game type of guy, whereas Vladdy is just trying to guess the right way and hoping for the best. And it's just never worked out. I don't know if he has to change tactics. I'll be honest with you. I was actually nervous with him with one of the plays where he came out, barely got his hand on the ball to punch it away, and it landed.
The Andre Horta shot.
And I was like, oh fuck. If that play ends up costing us a second goal, everyone's just gonna crucify the guy, because whenever you think about Vlachodimos, you don't shit on him for his game saving abilities. You shit on him for his aerial play and for his penalty play, right? So, yeah, I mean, I might be.
We don't depend on his distribution either, because his distribution is trash.
Yeah. So there's a lot of there's a lot of pain points with him, and I really, really hope that we go out in the offseason and invest in a keeper, a solid keeper. I've been a huge fan, and I think I know why. Huge fan of Castor Schmeichel, right? And the fact that he went from Leicester City,
right? He was with Nice.
To Nice, and then I think he even left Nice during the January window and went somewhere else, I think to the German league. But I'm like, why wouldn't you guys go after him? And I think it's because he probably wasn't even interested in coming here because his dad used to play for Sporting, and maybe there's some kind of nostalgic connection there with Sporting, so he wouldn't even touch Benfica. But at least make an attempt to get someone, a veteran player like Casper Schmeichel, right? I'm surprised that they went into the season and they've had 2 opportunities to invest in,
or even a guy like Navish, right?
Right. Well, apparently they went after him, but Navas didn't want to decline his or earn less, or at least PSG was not willing to do the same thing that they did with Draxler, right? So, that's the thing. You just don't know, what could have been if you had invested in a keeper, in a veteran keeper, right?
Yeah.
Do you end up playing with him eventually, or is Vladdy going to get pushed and he's going to excel and maybe improve his game? I don't see him improving his game. Now we've got 2 young guys coming up. Fantastic, great. But, you hope that you have somebody that's going to challenge him. And I look back at years ago when we had Ederson and Julius Cesar. Ederson learned from Julius Cesar, right?
Mm-hmm.
A veteran keeper who had won the Champions League with Inter, who's been all over the place, right? Benfica brought him in, and Ederson was basically under his tutelage, right? Great. Why can't we do that with a veteran goalkeeper? I think it's time to say goodbye to Vlachodimos. Bring in a veteran goalkeeper who could then bring up either Andrew Sanch or Samuel, right? So let's. It's time to move on from Vladdy. I mean, it's been a couple good years, great, but we've never won anything with him, and he struggles at times with some basic stuff like aerial play.
Yeah, and just distribution is terrible in my mind from him. It's like it's like a FIFA match where you're just kind of thumping it out there, and it never goes to anyone. And I've never seen Odie hit anyone in stride. I've never seen anyone hit, Odie go out and roll a ball and get Rafa free. It's very frustrating. And I, like I said, I didn't go into the match thinking, oh, Benfica's just going to lose. Odie just really is very frustrating as a keeper to watch. He's not going to save it. I just know it. Like, I just knew it. And I sat and watched every penalty go in. You know what I mean? And it's very frustrating. And then I'm not even going to, look, Fred misses another penalty. This is he's had 2 chances of penalties. This is the second penalty he's missed. But I can't even blame him. I was just hoping for Odie to just save one, just touch one.
I mean, think about it though. Like, he probably wouldn't have been one of the candidates had we had Gonçalo Ramos there, right? If Gonçalo Ramos had been subbed off, he probably would have been one of the 5 penalty kickers, right? So I don't know if he would have even been. I can't blame Arsens for the match he played. He was all over the place.
He was just
everywhere. I called him a cyborg because by the end of the match, he was still running down, Braga's defense to try to create a turnover. Like, it's, the guy wasn't tired. Like, I couldn't believe it. He's got iron lungs. It's incredible, his stamina. Like, just fucking incredible. And the amount of pitch he covers, it's fantastic to see this guy play. But penalty taking is probably not one of his fortes. Finishing is also, because he missed two opportunities in the game, right? One in the first half and one in the 68th minute, where it just came, that much to the post, right? So
last week he also missed a nice header into the box, but you have to give him credit for getting into these spaces, getting into and creating these opportunities for himself. Because to be honest, I don't think he should be in those positions, right? I think he's out playing wide. He's being asked to do something that he doesn't want to do. I think, and this is a tweet, and I'm sorry if I'm not not giving you the credit for it, but I also think that the Chiquinho thing is, I don't think he played terrible today. I'm not saying that. I'm not getting on him or anything like that. Nobody particularly played too bad today, in my mind. We were just situational football, right? It was just situational football. We were running, right? It is what it is.
I mean, the only play you can say is Ba for getting sent off early.
That's sent off, right? Yeah. Right. And in retrospect, somebody would have said, why didn't we start Gilberto in the Taca, right? And that's an argument too. But
after the performance he played against Casapia, scoring that wicked goal, would you have hated the fact that he started? Probably not. Ba is an interesting player. He's had some frustrating matches and he's had some splendid matches. Do I think he's a long-term solution for that position? Probably not. And
he's really young, though.
If rumors are to be true and they're going to go after Nelson Semedo, then he may be Nelson Semedo's understudy next year, right? Or at least have some solid competition between the two, which you kind of want, right? So, so we'll see. We'll definitely see. But like you said, I don't think anybody played poorly. It's just it happened the way it to be that way, and they had to defend and counterattack. Guys, hey,
no, they're fine. They're fine, man. They're fine. No worries. Every Benfica fan in here has a little brother, sister, or son, or daughter. We get it, man. Don't worry about it, really. I want to say this about Fred. I think that and we had Chiquinho here. Chiquinho was impressive defensively. He was asked to do a lot. today. And Chiquinho is not a defensive player. We all know this. He's a better going forward player.
But that's one of the things
weird.
we like doing in Portugal, right? We like to adapt players to positions. Like, we all know Pizzi was adapted to a number 8, right?
He lost speed. Like he couldn't beat nobody out on the wing anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so his distribution was really nice. But I want to say this about Fred. I always thought, and I hate to bring up the guy, but I always thought that Fred was, as Enzo's backup, was his. That was his I
think so.
He got brought in to take over that spot because we all knew we didn't know it was going to be 6 months, but we knew that Enzo was going to be out of there in a year. We knew that buyout was going to come. We all knew it. I thought Benfica went out and bought Fred to be in that spot, and I think he's a perfect.
This is going crazy right now.
Hey guys, go upstairs, please. Upstairs.
Oh my God! Sorry. Go ahead.
No worries, man. I thought that he would have been a perfect substitute.
Absolutely
perfect. And then even maybe, to be honest with you, maybe even a little bit more of a Swiss Army knife than Enzo was, because he's a little bit bigger, a little bit taller. He gets up a little higher. He's got a little bit more skill than people even realize. So, like I said on the last show, before you even know it, Fred is already. He's already making runs into the box, and you're trying to react as a defender. It's really. I really wish these Vikings would get on a little bit faster so we can get a nice winger and kind of.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, the one thing I was thinking about today is, okay, you invested in these 2 players, obviously for the future, but we kind of need the help now. Like, you invested in 2 players who are on their off season, and you've got a plan for them, but how long is this plan gonna work out? Because we kind of need the help now. Gonzalo Ramos left the game injured. So are we gonna go into Belgium again with the same lineup with Gonzalo Gedge up front? Maybe, right? But
but maybe
we have no cover for
him.
Yeah, right? But we have no cover for Gonzalo Gedge. Right?
But Neres don't like playing in that spot neither, man. He don't like playing the cam. He don't like playing behind the striker. He like
everyone's playing off position right now.
Everyone's playing off position.
Yeah. So,
but
it's a weird dynamic right now. But it seems to be
so
working.
Funny. That's it, brother. That was where I was gonna say. It's so funny that we always say, man, he should have did this. He should have did that. He should have did this. And all the while, Benfica has been playing pretty good football. It sucks that we've lost out on both tosses, if I'm not mistaken now, right? We're out both of them.
Yeah,
it sucks.
Taça Liga and now Taça, and Taça Portugal. And going to the match, Braga had lost against Sporting twice by big margins. So you're thinking to yourself, what the fuck? Like, how is it that I know that we're playing in Braga? It's a different story, right? Those 2 matches were at the Alvalade, but still, like, how's this work? How are we,
Stella, I can see you.
I'm wondering to myself, like, how is it that we continue to struggle against a team that has dropped, or not dropped, but conceded, what was it, 8-9 goals in 2 matches against Sporting? Nice. Or was it 10 goals? I think they lost both times 5-1, 5-0, if I'm not mistaken. How does that work? Like, I don't understand how that works. Right? This is the weird thing about football. Like, it just, you go into one match and you get completely destroyed, and then the second match you're playing lights out. Like, it just, I don't get that, right? And that's what happened the first time around with us. And now this game, things probably would have been different had there not been the red card, the early red card. But
I think so. I would go. It's not going out on a limb. It's not going out on a limb saying that we would have won that game. I think Benfica looked good. I think Benfica looked determined, and we have been looking better as since that match. How about that? Since that match, since Braga put a whooping on our ass, we just got better, and it seemed to be like back to Roger Ball, right? Press high, keep your foot on the gas, like go kill them. Today just kind of it felt like they kind of just took the wind out of us a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think. I think at the end of the day, we're going to look back on this match, and I don't think we're going to look back at it in a negative light towards the team. Obviously, we're going to look at it and say, hey, we've only been to 3 Taças in the last 20 some odd years.
Yeah.
So in that way, it's disappointing, but I don't think they're going to blame the squad or the team, right? Because I think at the end of the day, you were put in a position where you had to basically defend, and you defended well for 80 minutes. And like a lot of people have been saying online, they were happy with the performance given the circumstances. But we're going to look back on this match, and maybe it's a turning point for this team. And we're going to find out soon. We're going to find out on Wednesday against Bruges, who have been struggling ever since the end of the Champions League. They swapped out their manager. They had a falling out with a couple of players, right? So, the pressure's down on Benfica to perform, because we really only have 2 things to go on right now, right? We've got the Champions League and the Premier Liga to win. So that's the thing, right? This is where we're going to have to figure our shit out. So
yeah, and I don't want to be that, like, I don't want to be and take all the offense in the world, but I'm not gonna be like I'm not gonna be one of those guys that says, well, at least now we can focus on these 2 things. You know what I mean? Like, it does suck that we're not, and like it says here, we didn't even lose a match in the Taça. We didn't even lose. You know what I mean? A match, like, technically, but I guess today, but we didn't even lose a match in neither of Taça, and we're out on either one of them.
Right, exactly, right? So it is a little frustrating, but at the end of the day, I think this is going to be a turning point for the team, just because I think people are going to look at this and they're going to be like, okay, obviously we got bounced on penalties, but it built some character for the squad. It kind of showed us what we have in certain players, like Arsenal's again, like he was all over the place. And maybe you're going to see Gilberto come back into the squad, right? So maybe this is his way. Maybe he's got probably 2 matches, because if it was a straight red, I'm thinking he gets a 2-match ban. I might be wrong on that, but he might be. He might get back into the squad permanently. You might actually see him play in Belgium, right? Even though Bob wouldn't be suspended for that match, right?
Hey, I'm for that, because one thing Gilberto does is score Champions League goals. I'm telling you, this guy's got over the last ever since he's coming to Benfica, this guy's got like 4 or 5 Champions League goals. That's something. Like you play, like you said, Roger likes to play the hot hand. You get Gilberto out there, Godberto, as we like to call him over here on Benfica.
Exactly.
So Sergio, I think it's time to do the play of the match, choice of the match, and moment of the match. Yeah. If you'd like, I'm gonna run the tape.
Okay.
Oh man, so like we always do about this time of the show, choice of the match, player of the match, and moment of the match. Sergio, if you'd like to go ahead and start, either one, you pick your poison.
I mean, I'm gonna give the choice of the match obviously to Ba, because I think that was a turning point for us. I could also give it to the non-call by Thiago Martins on the Gonzalo Guedes foul, but I'm going to go with Bob, because obviously that was a turning point for us. It kind of it set the tone for the rest of the match. Moment of the match for me would probably be, again, Guedes' goal, just because I'll say this, his time at Wolves, like I said, I watch EPL quite a bit. It was very disappointing, and it's probably because of what was happening with the squad and the issues that they were having with the manager. And so it's rumored that he didn't even like being in England. He didn't like the weather. He just didn't like being in Wolverhampton, right? So he came back to Lisbon happy, and it's been amazing, his turnaround, right? I mean, that's 3 goals now since he's come back, right? So this is the 3rd goal, and he's he's been money for us. He's absolutely filled in for Ramos and Rafa. You know, he's given us that Ginga, as some people like to call it, and again today proved it, right? I'll be honest with you, I was a little disappointed in Roger Schmidt when he took him off and kept Netters up front. I would have thought they would have kept Gedge, but I'm thinking they probably, took off Gedge just because he was eventually going to put on Rams, right? Or he was probably saving Gedge for Belgium, right, for the next match. But I was a little disappointed they didn't keep Gedge up front instead of Netters. So I'll say that. The moment of the match for me, there's a number you can go back, but I'll say this: my heart fell when in the 90th, the 92nd minute, when they hit the post, and I was thinking to myself, holy fuck. It's going to be another 92nd minute moment in our history, and people are going to fucking banter and troll us for the next 2-3 years. That my heart just stopped for a moment there. I mean, I call it the goals and whatnot and saves, but that moment there, my heart nearly dropped. I'm like, 92nd minute, what are the odds that this fucking guy's going to score? And he hit the post, the outside of the post, but he still hit the post. And I'm like, holy shit, what a fucking bullet we just dodged. So that would be for me the moment of the match for sure. Just because for me personally, I think I fucking pissed my pants a little. So we've experienced that in our lifetime. I don't want to experience it again. Right. Even though,
I'm with you.
It wasn't a championship on the line, but still, it's not a great feeling to lose in the death like that. So
yeah, I'm totally with that, bro. I'm gonna try to switch it up a little bit. I'll go opposite a little bit. I'm gonna go my Shurisa of the match. I'm gonna give it to Odie. I have to. I think. I mean, I'm not gonna blame him for the Musrati goal, even though if you look at it in slow motion, it kind of just looks like he's just looking at him. Like, there you go. Like, there's.
Yeah.
Please. I'll try to stick a foot out. You know what I mean? I want my guy to fall on the floor, dive, do something. I don't care how close he is. But I'm gonna give it to him. The guy didn't even guess the right side, not once. That's crazy. 5 times. 5 times. If that's like losing a flip, that's like losing a flip coin 5 times in a row. Like not being able to say tails or heads one fucking time. Like the odds are 50-50. Like
what is it? He guessed a couple times.
Times. Yeah. Forget the save. At least like if it hit your pinky and you were like, God damn it, like something. Yeah. The guy was just, those game, like carnival games you see where you go, there's like this one goalie, he's standing in the middle and then you shoot it and he kind of just goes either way. It's just a fucking cardboard, you know what I mean? That's Odie. He's just a cardboard keeper. So I'm gonna give him the Churis of the match. My player of the match, I'm gonna give it to Gedge because I think the goal meant a lot. I think him coming off meant a lot. I think he's the player of the game because he would have meant most to this match had we won. He'd have probably scored another goal in space. Like there are a lot of what ifs, right? But
yeah,
I just think that once we took him off and Gilberto came in and it was just a different game, and I don't think there was nobody at that moment who was gonna like, unless you scored, was gonna be the man of the match. I think the man of the match came out for Gilberto. And that's just how I saw it. The play of the match, in my mind, the play of the match was an Otamendi taking that ball right off of his head. I think it was right before they scored that corner kick. How they got the corner kick, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought you were talking about when Muratu got the ball right in the head and fell to the ground.
Oh, no. Yeah, I saw that one. No, I'm talking about the Otamendi one where it's kind of early in the match. The guy takes a shot and he kind of goes up, boom, hits it over. I thought that was perfect. That was so Otamendi-like, you know what I mean?
I wasn't disappointed in Otamendi or Antonio Silva's performance. I think Antonio Silva had a monster game. a monster game. Like I'll
Oh,
give him credit, you know.
And he scores
He was-
that penalty like he just
Oh, yeah.
easy.
If there was a player I
Easy.
thought that was gonna miss, it was gonna be him. I'm like, fuck,
Him.
he's 19. This guy's gonna get trolled online. You know, he's a central defender and he's stepping up to score a penalty. And he scores it like he's done this before a million times, like he's Cristiano Ronaldo, right? Like,
and then he gets the ball, and then he grabs the ball out of the net and comes back. I'm like, oh, this fucking kid, man. Like this dude. I said it because we're having a son. I said, I want my son to grow up to be like Antonio Silva, just like the guy, like Baines of Steel, plays for Benfica. I mean, everything. That's who you want your daughter to marry, Antonio Silva. That's the kind of guy you want bring your daughter brings him home and he says, this is a good guy.
And he's a gamer too, apparently.
And he's a gamer. All right. Oh yeah, see. So yeah, man. So those are mine. Those are my 3. And then what we also do is we do comment of the show. Now, obviously, it was a late show. We appreciate everybody who joined us. João, Zach, Rainin Entertainment. We had Benfica fan in here. I know my guy Jake. Jake was supposed to get on with us. You know, shit happens. We completely understand, man. We'll get you back on the next show, no doubt about it. Yeah, so just shout out to everybody. My comment of the match, man, one that stood out to me the most was this is tough. To be honest with you, it's a weird one, but I want to just go back to Reigning Entertainment with the comment of the match and what he thinks about the consistency in the Portuguese Liga. It says his dog's shit has better consistency. So I thought that was pretty funny to me. I thought that was the one comment that kind of just stuck out to me a little bit. It went underappreciated, but I wanted you to know, Rating Entertainment.
I'll tell you what, though. I'll be interested to see in a couple years. I don't know when they're going to start this, but apparently the Portuguese League is applied to be one of the test subjects for VAR when they go to referee explanation, like live mic, like they do in rugby, right? So I watch rugby, international rugby. I'm not into club rugby, and I don't get that involved, but I do watch some Six Nation, and I do watch some of the tests that they play in the Southern Hemisphere. And when they go to VAR, there's a conversation between the VAR referee who's up in the stands or in the press box and the actual match referee, and they're having a serious conversation. And it's being justified, right? Why they're making that call. And I'd love to see that in play in Portugal and everywhere, to be honest with you, because I think
that's like in Australia.
Yes,
is exactly. That like the one in Australia where you can hear the guys like talking like on the VAR?
And I'd like to see that in Portugal. Now, it'd be very interesting to see how some calls are justified and why one call was called in a certain way and the other one wasn't. Be very interested. Will it clear up controversies? Absolutely not. I mean, I think my son 30 years from now will be on a podcast or whatever the equivalent of a podcast is in 30 years. And I don't know what that will be, but if I invent it, I'll be a fucking billionaire. But they'll be all talking about the consistency of referees. I mean, that's just part of the game, right? We've benefited from referees and we've gotten slapped by referees. That's just the way the game is, right? You're always trying to look for improvements, and I'm hoping that particular thing does get into the game, does get introduced in the game, so it does improve at least the justification as to why a call is made, right? Go back a couple of weeks ago to probably the most controversial VAR call in soccer this season, including the World Cup. The goal, Bruno Fernandes' goal against Manchester City. People have loved to have heard what the conversation was between the VAR referee and the match referee and the linesman as to why they gave that goal. Everyone and their mom thought it was not a goal because Rashford engaged on that one. Right. Rashford engaged in the goal. Come on, United! You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't you love to have heard what the justification was, right? So absolutely. I think it would eliminate. I don't think it'll eliminate controversies because it'll probably just prove that these guys are fucking even more idiots because you're
Yeah.
now hearing
Yeah.
it and believe you can't.
You'll be able to pick up on
there'll be sound that goes with the images
Yeah.
now, right?
You'll
So
this rascal Scooter going out of the room, like, what the fuck is that sound in
but
the
at the
background?
very least, it would be a little bit more transparent. I think that's what we need, more transparency to do away with the whole notion
The
that
bullshit.
there's
Just
corruption
Hey.
and dual criteria and whatnot, right? So
right. Corruption,
what it
I don't
is.
know. Agendas for
Agendas,
sure. Agendas for sure. Because I mean, everybody got their own agenda. Everybody wants to look out for number one without stepping in number two. You know what I'm saying? And that's really what it is.
Absolutely.
So I really appreciate it, Sergio, man, for you to come in on this show, bro. I really do, man. I always really appreciate your opinion. You're very fair, and you call it like it is. So I really appreciate you calling, and
sure.
we appreciate the you doing it. I know, family man, having the kids run around, it's crazy. So I really appreciate your time.
Well, I'll tell you what. Like, I am looking forward to next week's game. I've actually taken the day off from work. I'm literally using a vacation day to basically sit on my ass for the first half of the day and then drive down to go watch the game at the club. And I'm looking forward to that match because I do expect us to show up. And and best of luck to all the fans that are going to Belgium. Right, Bruges is one of the prettiest cities you'll ever go. And if you're a beer drinker, you will absolutely love Bruges and have a leaf on me or a left, what you want to call it.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, it's going to be an exciting game. I look forward to us beating the shit out of them in 2 legs and getting into the finals and distracting us from these 2 faux pas, the Taça Liga and Taça Portugal. Taça Portugal is a little bit more disappointing. Taça Liga, it's just that's a manufactured Taça that we won in the past. It is a title, that's great, but I think everyone would argue that it's a little bit more sour to lose out on the Taça Portugal just because of the history behind it.
Yeah,
right. And
I think you could also put that Enzo thing, that Enzo debacle, throw that in there as well as things that we can use this game to move on. And, you know what I mean? And we got like we were talking about agendas a second ago. We got an agenda. This is what's on the docket. And go Borussia Dortmund. That's all I'm gonna say. Dortmund, maybe.
Listen, there is a comment here in the chat from Reigning Entertainment about the Super League. I'll say this.
Oh yeah,
it won't happen. As much as they want to. They can keep pushing this agenda. It won't happen. They're leveraging. These teams are leveraging for more money, for more power. It just won't bat. And yeah, exactly. Fuck that shit. It's not going to happen. As much as they, because football bigger than just the biggest teams of a league, right? I love watching games like Benfica going up to Passo Freire and. Passo Freire is giving us, you look, they're giving us all they could. Like, you go back and you say, oh, these guys couldn't even fucking beat Boavista, but here they are fucking giving it to us, right? I love those kind of challenges. I love it. I love watching the Portuguese league or any league for that matter, where the big giant goes into a small team and that small team just gives it to them, right? How often do you cringe when we go to Rio Ave? Because Rio Ave has always had our number in their stadium, right? Yeah. So, those are great matches. Now, you go to a Super League, you don't have that tradition. You're going to be what? So Benfica goes to play Bayern Leverkusen or Benfica plays whoever it is. Like, it's just, that the motivation is just money.
And what it is too, Sergio?
It's not tradition. It's not based on tradition. Right?
So they can scout the bottom half of the fucking league's teams players, you know what I mean? So they can come poach and purge things like that. Yeah, poach the shit out of it. Do lazy scouting, lazy bullshit. Come and just buy out everybody's fucking team. It would be a joke unless you can't buy. If you're in the Super League, you can't buy players from the Super League. You know what I mean? Like that. Then
I just think that at the end of the day, there's more than just money when it comes to football. There's there's intangibles that
National
you
pride.
can't buy.
There's
You just can't
national
buy.
pride. There's
You
heritage.
can't buy those kind of matches when you're playing against smaller teams, or even in the
Or even
Taca.
when we go to
you know,
Guimarães, like even we go to Vitória
yeah.
Guimarães, like they hate us.
Absolutely. They
For
hate us with a
years.
passion. Braga hates
Passion.
us with a passion, right? You're going into those places. You're going to lose that going to a Super League. I'm assuming that Benfica will be invited to a Super League, right? But I'm just saying, out
It was
loud.
50 teams.
Yeah, something like 60 to 80 teams that they're going to invite, right? But still, at the end of the day, there's more to football than just money. And to me, I love watching the domestic leagues because of the drama and the passion and traditions that come from that. And you're going to lose regional rivalries. Like those are what you love to see. I don't want to keep seeing every fucking week a super team versus a super team. I mean, the good thing about the Champions League is it's not it's 6 matches. It's probably, I think it's going to go to 8. They're obviously increasing that because of these jerk offs, but at least it's not something that's every weekend, 30 odd matches or 40 odd matches, and there's no tradition. It's just, Arsenal's playing Juventus this week, and then Manchester City's playing PSG. Like it's just to me is just not soccer, right? So
it's not. It's pay as you play. You know what I mean? It's like getting a free game on Xbox, and you got to pay. You got to pay for all. You know what I mean? You got to pay for all the guns and all the. You know what I mean? All that knives. It's just pay to play. That's all it really is at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So I completely agree. I think it's a joke. I think it's just another money grab. It's just another money grab for teams like Man City. Is Man City going to be invited to this? You know what I'm saying? It's like, can you invite a team like that? You know what I mean? And who knows what's going to happen to them? Probably nothing. You know what I mean? Probably absolutely nothing will happen to them. They'll get a slap on the hand and things will move on. They're not going to get relegated.
And this doesn't absolve UEFA from anything, right? At the end of the day, UEFA is just as a culprit as the Super League. Because look at the UEFA. They've tried their most to expand the Champions League to generate more money, expand in national team matches to generate more money, like with the Nations League and whatnot. I mean, they're a money-making operation, right? No one's thinking about the players at the end of the day. They can give two shits about the players, right? So I don't know. I think the idea exists to get more money out of UEFA, and that's the only reason why. If UEFA had balls, they would have banned Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Juventus and sent a strong message, but they didn't because they don't have balls, And this is just
balls. Speaking of balls, we're gonna go ahead and bring in another set of balls up in here. What's up, bro?
Olha, guys. I just finished work. We're good. You guys are good to start a show. We're gonna do a show. Is that what we're gonna do now?
Oh yeah, Pop.
We're gonna start. Okay, as long as you guys let me take off my shirt. I'm gonna take off my shirt here. We're not live or anything, are we?
We're live. We're live. Wow.
Yeah. Do you remember the guy that used to sell furniture here in Canada, the Idomo guy? You look like that guy.
Hey,
you look like the Idomo guy.
Quick thing. I didn't get to watch the match, but I heard the ref was this today. I don't know if this works.
Oh, you were gay?
The oldest math joke in the universe. How you guys doing?
How are you?
I'm okay. I missed the game.
You didn't miss much. Work.
I saw the presser from Rui Costa. Gosh, that's on God. Olha, is that me? That's me.
Domo guy. Hey, that's you, bro.
Oh, it's just you. I'm dead.
You don't even know how easy it was.
I saw Sergio's beautiful face. This is
hilarious.
hilarious.
No idea how easy it was to find the Adomo guy. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Oh my god,
easy. But
I
man,
saw you
so
guys
we're just
talking about some Super League nonsense. Now I was like, this guy's
man. It's like you said, they're just rich and greedy. UF is being rich and greedy, and like I said, I don't want to bring it up being a dead horse, but the whole Enzo thing, it's just for me, it's just an excuse for these fucking guys to fucking, like I said, poach our players, scout our team, and then come in with a bid. nah, I'm good. I don't want anything to do with no shit like that. I didn't want anything to do with it in the
Absolutely
beginning, the
right.
first time around, and now I don't want it to be this. I now I have no interest.
What's
in
actually?
being-
You know what?
in
This
a
rant.
Super
I
League.
literally just jumped on this because I love talking to you guys. What's going on with this FIFA World Cup of Clubs mega tournament? You guys been following that?
I don't know if
You
it's
know,
supposed to
still
start
they
go
should
ahead.
they should just let Argentina play by themselves because that's what happened in the World Cup. I mean, it was just them and the refs.
I saw a thing like a preliminary list of the
Fuck.
European clubs that would go because it's based on like the UEFA rankings.
Yeah.
And Portugal, because we'd be out because technically the Dutch league is ahead of the Portuguese Liga. We wouldn't even get a team
really?
represented, I guess. Yeah, because supposedly it was like the way they were structuring was like the top 10 or some shit like that. And I just came in to say hello, man. I saw these beautiful faces. That's all I had to do, man. I could have gone to a
It
chat,
says it's
right?
a tournament with the same amount of teams as the World Cup.
Yeah,
Kind of,
32
kind of.
teams pulled from basically the different confederations around the world. Like
Yeah.
you'd have like Auckland City from Oceania playing Manchester City, right? And
Nobody's going to be playing Manchester City.
well, I don't know. Here's one
like
of the
we
offsets.
said, like we said, nothing will happen. Nothing. Will happen.
If the Super League were to
Nothing.
happen, if the Super League were to happen, one of the offsets would be you'd see a consolidation of these clubs into rich owners, right? You absolutely would see people like, sovereign funds, Qatari, Emirates, and all these rich billionaires deciding, I need a piece of this league and I'm going to be purchasing a team, one of these 60 teams. That's what you would end up seeing, right? And it's going to be basically like Formula One, where you've got a closed league amongst billionaires who have these race cars, and they're going to be playing each other. Yes, I know that they're going to introduce relegation, but that's all bullshit. We all know that, right? Yeah. So it's just basically a glorified Formula One. That's exactly what the Super League is going to end up being.
That's like anytime and people bring up relegation in the MLS. It's like, shut up. Yeah, it's like it's not gonna happen.
We should bring. Listen,
get this off the ground.
We should definitely get Alexi Lalas onto this call one day because he's anti pro reg. That guy is he's one of the most loyal MLS guys out there. It's insane.
He thinks it works. He thinks it works.
You know what? He's the kind of guy that MLS comes out and say we're doing pro relegation. He's like, I've always loved it. I've always supported
it. Exactly. He goes where the wind blows. Exactly.
Right? Whatever the league says, they're good. They're good.
But Zach Silva says, but I don't want a shit North American style league in Europe. Absolutely. Football's my escape from North American sports. I don't want that in Europe. I don't want that in
right.
football.
I agree. I absolutely.
There's a reason why I like soccer over the four.
You know what? I think.
You know what I mean?
Sergio, I think the reason why I don't look at the refs in Portugal the way I do like here is because of that right there. I think I have so much problems here in the States, in North America, with the fucking NFL refs and the NBA refs. Like, I'm tired of refs. So when I come to watch football, it's like it's you score the goals, you win the game, and that's kind of how I want to keep it. Yes, sometimes things are egregious. Sometimes if things are fucked up, shit happens. You know what I'm saying? But goddamn, everything can't always be the refs cheated us. You know what I'm saying?
No,
like then we're taking away accountability. You're taking away the accountability of the team. You're taking away Odie's accountability for saving one fucking penalty, or even pick a fucking side even once.
Well, and that's the reason why this
you
podcast
take the responsibility
rules, right?
from them. Yeah,
and that's the reason why this podcast rules. And we at the end of the day, we're obviously biased towards Benfica, but we're using a critical eye to analyze the match, and we're not going to just be yes, man, and say, yeah, man, we should have won, and the referee fucked us, and that's it. There, we were at fault at times too, right? Like Bob's red card was absolutely
fucked up,
and Odie could have done better on his penalties at the end of the day, right? But yeah, for sure, absolutely, we cannot discount what we did in the match. At times, unfortunately, we deserve the result because we did it to ourselves. Right.
I jumped this on a tail end. I know I said I was working. I missed a chunk of this. One thing I wanted to say on this part was this could be a blessing in disguise. Exactly. Because I want to win. I would love to win the Taca, but
You're gonna say what you're gonna say, right?
Hopefully we beat Club Brugge. I really hope we beat Club Brugge. That's my hope, right? And if we advance, because I don't want to act arrogant, but if we have the benefit to advance, it's 2 less matches. Because in the semifinals in Portugal, you play 2 matches.
We had
2 less matches. You guys already talked about that. Okay, good.
But what you said, I said I went exact opposite. I went exact opposite of what you said. I said I don't want to be the guy that says I'm okay with being knocked out of both of these leagues because I want to win every fucking thing.
No, I want to win everything.
I don't mean that you don't. I don't mean that you don't. Absolutely not. I don't mean that. I just, that rhetoric, that same old, that's a sporting comment. That's a sporting Lisbon comment. Okay.
Sporting Lisbon. Okay. It's like we'll eventually get one in the next 18 years.
Yeah, or thank God we're out. Now we can focus on this. That's what that's what Porto fans say. You know what I'm saying? I want to win everything. And especially a Taça that we don't fucking win. We never fucking win the Taça Portugal. You know what I mean? So it's like
we still got the most of these.
Fuck, man.
You know what? I got to go to that one. The Taça, that's the one right there. The Guimarães versus Benfica. That was a fun time. I enjoyed that final. That was years ago.
Yeah, see, those were good. Those were good times. They're definitely, and not that these are bad times, because Roger, I trust. I trust Roger. I definitely do. I mean, it's just it sucks. It happens. I forget who says it. Maybe it was Zach. I think it was Zach. It says we didn't even lose a match in the tosses, and we are out of both of them. You know what I mean?
Now,
so it's
if there's a silver lining, it's two extra matches for Braga, right? So they've got to go to Nacional and they play at home. And Braga is one of the 2 teams that are fighting against us, including Porto. So those 2 teams have 2 extra matches to play in critical months. Now, I'm hoping that it's the other way. It's going to be us at the end that's going to have the problem, because I want Braga and Porto out of Europe, and I want to go all the way to the Champions League final. So I want to have that problem with juggling squads, because we're competing both for the championship in Portugal and the championship in Europe. That's what I want. So I want you know what I mean? So that's what I want to have. That's the problem I want to have. Not necessarily, I don't want to look at it and say, oh, we have two fewer matches. I want to have more matches eventually at the end of the season, because that meant that we went far.
We advanced. Yeah, no, I really hope.
I'm hoping that we run out the schedule in the Portuguese league. The other guys stumble, so that by the end of the league, we've won the league by double-digit points. And I'm not saying that we relax for the last couple of matches, but I'm saying we relax for the last couple of matches because we've got to play the Champions League final. So
that'd be sick. No, just to answer his question, it was the one that we won with Rui Vitória for the Taça Portugal final, and then the Sergio. One thing Benfica hasn't done in a very, 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 very long time. I'm having a hard time recalling when. Is winning the league with a very long time left in the season. It always feels like we're clinching in the last two matches, 4 games. Absolutely. 4 games seems like so rare.
Yeah, but you know what, guys? I hate to bring the boogeyman up in Mexico culture and stuff like that. My girl, what they call it, the cucuy. All right, we call Porto in my life is the cucuy. Okay, they're the fucking monster. You know what I'm saying? They're the guys, they're the ones under the bed. They're the monster under the bed when your daughter, son comes, Daddy, Mom, there's a monster under the bed. It's Pinto Costa under there. That's what it is. You gotta
I've been wondering if Pinto Costa's under your daugh's bed.
I'm just saying. That's the truth. I'm just saying, it's the ghost of Pinto Costa haunting our children, all right, forever. Okay,
I'll wait for the ghost.
Yeah, I'm telling you. So I don't want to say that they are the only ones. I'm not worried about Braga today's match. I kind of, we got Braga one more time in the luge, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's the first game in May. It's the 4th final game of the season. We got Braga, then we got Chu away, and then we got the home game.
Right. Take care of that. Take care of that game.
That could be the game winning. That could win the title right there against Braga.
I'm going to say this. I'm so glad you said that. Normally, guys, everybody in the chat, normally we all say Benfica, or Porto. I don't want to say 40. It's Benfica, Porto. They don't win the league by beating Sporting, Braga, and Porto. But this year, in my opinion, you have to beat these guys in order to win this league this year. In order for that double-digit win to happen, we have to beat Braga in May. We have to beat Sporting. We have to beat Porto. At least it has to be 2 or 3, in my opinion.
I don't even have the schedule up, but if you're pulling up the schedule, you've got,
we got Bruges on Wednesday. All right, so let me go the next big guy, right? So
no, just the Liga. I mean, think about the teams that you're playing. You're playing at home. You're playing Guimarães at the Luge. You're playing Braga at the Luge. You're playing Porto at the Luge, right?
You got
and who else is a difficult?
Yeah, you got some home games coming up, Mario. I mean, Sergio, you're right about that. You got some home games coming up. Boavista, right after Bruges, is at home.
Boavista is another home match. That's, you've got some difficult road matches that you've already done this year. Right?
We're on the road to Rio Ave.
We got a lot.
We were just talking about that. Sergio, we go to Rio Ave in April 2nd.
Yeah, no, that's a difficult one. Even going to Marítimo is always a difficult trip. But I'm just saying that we've gotten the majority of the island trip out of the way. And the Sporting match comes three games near the end of the season. So if you run the table and you win all your matches right up to the Braga match, and you beat Porto at home and you beat Braga at home, then you've pretty much, I wouldn't say clinched it, but you're going into the Alvalade probably needing only 1 point in the next 3 matches.
Yeah. Hey, quick question, Sergio.
Jake says Kelvin hides under his bed to this day.
Oh my God, that's petrifying.
That's probably what he's doing, considering he has no fucking career anymore. The guy had one thing. What's going on, brother? It was that fucking game.
Yeah.
Quick question. This is a completely personal question, unrelated to the show. The Canada passport office, right? So I get the 2 passports. Rui and Evan need passports. So I go about 4 weeks ago, and the guy, ele diga a mim, olha, 2 weeks, you're gonna get it. It might not be the same day, maybe a day different, but you're gonna get it. I'm like, cool. So I get Rui's, 2 weeks, so happy. Eva's, I don't know what the fuck. She's been AWOL for 2 extra weeks now. I don't know what her passport is. The reason I bring this up is I'm booking a trip to Portugal, and that's one of the games I'm looking at. It's the Braga home game. Is that match?
Braga home, May 7.
That's why I'm hoping we do what we got to do now, so we clinch the title against Braga at the Luge well in advance.
Absolutely. You run the schedule right through, because
that's a chunk. That's an important chunk. I want to just let. It sounds good, but let me just tell you guys this chunk real quick, okay? So after Bruges, Club Bruges, we have Boavista at home. We on the road to Vizela, on the at home versus Famalicão. Champions League, Marítimo. We're at Marítimo, March 12th. Yeah. We play Guimarães and Rio Ave on the road. So we play Marítimo on the road. We come back to play Vitória Guimarães, and then we head out to Rio Ave to play them. Then after that trip, we come back to the Luz to play Porto. That chunk right there, that from Marítimo to Porto, that right there is going to tell us a lot about this double digit.
Absolutely. There's that. And you throw in the fact that Porto has to play Braga, and there's a Clásico on Sunday between Porto and Sporting. They're going to be
which was a draw last time, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Right? So you got to think that there's going to be drop points. So if you run the course and you get to the Porto match and you beat Porto at the Luge, then
if there's enough of a gap, it's done. They'll just fold.
Possibly.
And that honestly, we're kind of looking at our gamut, but you're saying, what if Porto loses against Sporting, and they draw another game along the way, and mathematically it starts looking like this impossible mountain, and these teams have a tendency of imploding once they kind of realize that it's game over. You know what I mean? And there's also a very big thing to be said that if Braga can continue running at the pace they are, and let's say Porto loses Sporting and has like a couple of carfuncles more, all of a sudden Porto starts fearing this third place, because it's a very petrifying thing to be in, that you're not going to have guaranteed group stage money. It screws up the summer window so bad.
I want 1 year not to play in that fucking game. Mario.
No, I know, but I'm just saying for
You're
us
not to play in that shit.
we have more financial capacity than Porto, and we were sweating it. Should we spend? Should we not
man.
spend? And like last minute signings if we go through. And imagine Porto, which is not as financially kosher. They don't go directly to group stage. It could be sometimes this domino effect that if the right things happen today, the right things can happen tomorrow.
Gilberto probably does know black magic, Zach. I agree. I think this is gonna be fun, man. And like I said, I trust Roger. I think the Vikings might come there at the end. And like Sergio said perfectly earlier, man, like I need help today. You know what I'm saying? I don't need y'all on the B team anymore. I think it's time to go ahead and
speaking
push
of help
these guys
today,
along.
there's a reason why I started saying what I said, and I get very distracted. So anyways, back to Canada passport. I don't know what to do, Sergio. You're my guy. Who do I call? I tried emailing Canada. The government doesn't respond to my email. I just got
was it Canada@gmail.com or what?
Exactly.
Dude, if you get one of those emails, then run because it's probably a scam artist.
Hit up that furniture guy, bro. Hey,
you know where you go? You go to the passport office and give them that. We had the same thing, and you can actually get them to expedite the passport.
I don't even have the receipt anymore. I'm just gonna show up. They got.
I would just go ahead and book that trip and use that as proof to then go to them and say, hey, I have this trip coming up and I need the passport, and you can actually expedite it and then get them to do it at the Mississauga.
That's the only thing holding me up from booking the trip right now is because I was debating about April or May, and I'm really that Braga game would be so cool. And Rui's getting into it so much right now. This is his first since the World Cup. The best thing about this World Cup was my son got into the game next level. And now that's all he talked about with his friends. He's showing me like videos of players. He's asking about Ronaldinho. He's asking about all these kind of crazy questions. I'm like, he wasn't asking anything.
Who's his non-dad team?
Oh, God. He's finally like, it took a while of me like coercing and also threats. Early on, he's like, oh, this PSG team, man, they sound so good. I'm like, he grabbed FIFA. Look at the player stats. I'm like, they got everyone. I'm like, Rui, you want to know something? How many times PSG won the Champions League? Nada. You want to see the group stage ranking? See that? See PSG second to Benfica. Finish the puta. Like they are trash. They suck. Yeah. You don't got to support this team. And then he goes, oh, do you want to play some FIFA? He's still like 11. And so, you do the dad thing where, you let him win a game and then you beat his ass here and there and you let him win a game. We go back and forth. All of a sudden, I pick Benfica. He's speaking PSG. I don't relent. I'm like, he doesn't get any wins anymore. He doesn't get any wins. And I'm like,
Rafa's
really,
got hat tricks at the half.
I'm like, oh. All of a sudden, he's like, I don't think I can play anymore, Dad. I'm like, it's okay, son. You got to pick a better team.
Listen, at least he's picking something relevant. At least he's not picking some fucking shitty MLS team like Nashville.
No, he doesn't want nothing.
Austin, and you know what I mean.
And even worse,
he's walking up the stairs and saying, "We believe that we will win. We believe that we will win."
Or even worse, Mario, he didn't say. Yeah, or he didn't say, "Hey, what's up with that other Lisbon team? I kind of like Green, Dad." Yeah. Oh God.
Well, no, you know what he said to me, which made me laugh?
I like Lions, Dad.
Oh, God, no. What he said to me is like, Dad, I'm going to do a career mode, but because Benfica is so good, it'll be too easy. So what if I pick Sporting? I could be a Sporting because they're the weak team and you got to work up. It's harder. It's a bigger challenge, right? I'm like, don't pick Sporting, guys. Just don't do it. Pick a Roca. Pick anyone. Just please, not Sporting or Port. Just no fajis. But it's funny now he's switched around. Now he's like he's liking it. He's like it's funny. He's starting to learn the players' names and shit like that. It's this 24 crazy turnaround, and so it's hitting this peak. And if I get him to lose, see this.
But we joke, but Benfica has been in the media's mouth for the last couple of months because of Enzo and because
it helps them. It helps.
Right? It absolutely helps. I look back to 2003 and 2004 with Porto and what they did in the UEFA Cup and then the Champions League, and that for them did them wonders from an international perspective, right? In terms of recognition and gaining popularity, right? So you want to win in the Champions League and you want to go far in the Champions League because not only are you obviously you're cultivating a support a massa associativa in Portugal, but you also want to get more fans on your side outside
Next
of Portugal. You
generation, other
want,
people, man.
exactly.
It's funny
You know,
that you say
get the
that.
you
quarterfinals,
want
get to the
neutrals to
final-
convert
You
over
go to the
and
final
say,
8. There's 8 logos. That's all there is. 8 logos,
Yeah.
and hopefully
It's
it's
funny.
Benfica's logo there.
It's funny you say that too, Sergio, because when that Benfica thing was going on, I'm getting phone calls from all my friends like, "Hey, isn't this your team?" I'm like, "What's up with Chelsea? What are they trying to do?" So I'm explaining to people who don't even really watch football, who don't even really watch, soccer out here in the States, if you will.
This year
And
in
it
particular,
was very cool to be like, yeah, we're dope like that. They want all our players. I mean, that's how I explained it. We're fucking
absolutely.
the best, and they want all our players. And that's
here
just
in
how it
Toronto.
is.
Here in Toronto, there's an interesting dynamic with Italians and Portuguese. There's a rivalry which probably maybe in Newark they may have it, and in Montreal they may have it. There's a little bit of a rivalry between Portuguese and Italians that doesn't exist in Europe because the dynamics aren't the same there. But it's been interesting this year. Benfica was never ever uttered by Juventus's fans, but this year beating Juventus twice, all of a sudden we've got people saying Benfica, 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 giving us massive respect. I even had a Juve fan who came up to me in the supermarket because I was wearing a Benfica hat and like, dude, is Grimaldo any good? I'm like, yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah, we're gonna sign him for you guys for free. I'm like, fuck you, you guys are gonna sign him because and that's the thing, right? This year has been such a turnaround year for us, especially from a European
told them nobody's
perspective.
going to Juventus right now, buddy.
Yeah.
Not a
what I
fucking
mean?
soul.
But you've got people looking at Benfica's squad wanting to poach us because they're seeing Jesus.
That's where the talent's at. That's where the talent's at.
Look at what they've done. They did against Juve and what they managed to do against PSG over 2 games. Like, we've earned people's respect, and that's the reason why you got to do well in Europe. That's why it pissed us off for so many years over the last decade. What people like Luis Figueira used to do in terms of prioritizing Europe and
showcase to sell players.
Exactly.
We had one of the president. Remember, we had one of those guys who running for president.
Yeah.
He used to work for Benfica. He came on our show and said the exact same thing. They don't prioritize Champions League. They don't prioritize football. They don't
believe in it. I do believe
they prioritize
his. That's all.
Yeah, they prioritize Vieira's pet projects, right? Yeah. So real quick, before we head out, I just want to ask you guys this question Jake has here. It says it's a hard question, but can you still do it without Enzo? And I'm assuming he's talking about the Champions League, just based on what happens after that. Without Enzo, we could do
absolutely.
Right?
It's not going to be with Chiquinho.
Bruges.
I don't think it's
Bruges for sure. Yes. Right?
But I don't think it's going to be with a Chiquinho in the middle. I think Chiquinho. Eventually, we're going to revert. We're going to revert to what you were saying, and it's going to be Auschwitz in the middle there. And I'm hoping that we're going to finally see. We're going to unleash the eagle. I was going to say unleash the dragon, but obviously it's not the dragon. It's the eagle. And we're going to have that 3-headed monster of Rafa, Guedes, and Ramos up top, right? Yeah. And we'll see. We'll see.
Are the Danes signed up for the Champions League? Did we register them for Champions League?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we'll see them.
They come, but do they come to sit on the bench at least?
They'll be on the bench. They were on the bench today, weren't they? Weren't they on the bench today? I don't even know.
I didn't look.
I'll tell you.
I didn't even look at the bench.
But yeah, no. One more point is last year quarterfinals Champions League. If we can do it against Bruges, quarterfinals Champions League back years, and you have to constantly be in these turns. Like if your name is always there. One thing I'll give Port credit was they had a streak where they constantly were in the knockouts. You need that. You need these constant appearances. Like it kind of brings in more talent.
No, we got that from Rain Entertainment. I think we need some more.
Chiquinho has turned around.
I'm not saying because I think we need some more of that too, some more belief. Because I'm not the type of guy to say like I'm not the type like I understand the Chiquinho thing. Like I get it, but also too like I don't want to hate on the guys that are there to do our job. You know what I'm saying? Like Chiquinho was there. He's. It just gives me I had a lesson. The Enzo gave me a lesson as to what I think a Benfiquista is now. You know what I mean? Like it didn't remind. It just reminded me. It kind of gave me a knock on the head. And then to see Andre Almeida, and you could say what you want about the Choris, all right? You could say what you want, Enzo would have never felt that type of love or type of, he didn't feel it. He didn't want to be here. Like a guy like Chiquinho, his career with us, loaned out, sold, bought, loaned out, sold, bought. Like it's like a fucking constant thing with this guy.
You know what?
He comes and
maybe
does a
this
job.
is time.
Yeah.
And it happens.
Yeah, maybe it fucking is. Yeah.
You have these freak events, and you just have to dream as a fan, or else you don't watch the sport. To be honest, that all of a sudden you do bleed Club Brugge. You all of a sudden get a decent, respectable matchup in the next round, and you're able to do it. And then just the fucking chips fall where they fall, and you get a little lucky, and the ball is round and it bounces in different directions. And I don't know, man. The one thing I'll say about Benfica today is that today that dream, and it's still a dream, it feels like a fun dream that can come true more than ever, even though we're still that far away. You know what I mean? Like before, just a few years ago, it's like, it just from a leadership standpoint, the way that they diminished it, and as it's just a waste of time. We're there to get some money, sell some players, but let's not call a spade a spade. We don't belong there, kind of thing. Was a bit of the attitude coming top down, and I'm just Rui Costa, man. I gotta say, I voted for him, but I did it with there wasn't many other candidates, and I was nervous because given all the shenanigans that happened, but.
We talked about that a lot on the show.
He is showing his value and his valor for the club and his passion, and just it's one of us. It's literally when I see this guy fucking going Malouk on the referee, or
how he stood up after the game when we lost. How he just stood up like fuck this, like fucking I'm out.
I'm gonna see if I can watch some clips when
he showed him totally Salvadoran image of I'm assuming it was one of the calls, right? And he was basically shoving it in his face, like, what? Look, see, bro, look.
Yeah, we got a president not playing fucking Candy Crush, but actually he's watching Twitter and looking at shit. You know what I mean?
I do think though, from a player, from a top down, I believe leadership. There's all these silly cliche sayings that leaders have to lead. They have to. I'm telling you, when Rui Costa, to me, in my mind, I envision him in a locker room, beating a table, having a conversation with players. These guys, this guy did it. He was a legendary player in his time. There's a different versus a guy in a suit that's trying to talk to you and doesn't even know the proper terminology or understand the mechanics of the game, right? I just love it, man. That's the thing about him right now that it makes the dream feel more real.
Vieira's like, you do good at soccer. Yeah. Like, what the fuck?
You do good. You do good.
You do good.
Yeah.
You play football.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, you TikTok in the net.
You Where you from? Brazil? That's perfect.
What I like.
Yeah, on the.
It's Brazil.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, you'll be at Real Madrid soon enough. Don't worry. I got you.
Yeah, we're gonna slap $100 million price tag on you, and no one's gonna buy it.
One more thing. You know what I love? I love the amount of English pundits right now saying Enzo is a player that's worth 40 million, 35 million, 55 million. I love it for two things. We said F off, and you have to pay a steep price. And it sends a message saying, yeah, we got good talent, but you got to pay for that. If right now someone went to Juventus, and Juventus is different because they're in a financial crisis, same with Barcelona, but you go to, let's say, AC Milan, and you say, I want Rafael Leão. And AC Milan says, no, we think there's a future in this kid. We don't want to sell. And you're going to go, I'm going to bully you and take him from you. AC Milan's like, fine, you want to do this? You're going to pay. And you have to pay. You have to have deep pockets and pay. If they don't want to sell, you got to pay. Benfica's doing that to clubs. That is amazing. And you kind of see many other clubs wishing, they dreamed they had the ability to tell a club like Chelsea to go F themselves and hold out for that big of a buy.
Yeah, and I think they got embarrassed. I think we embarrassed them. I think our president embarrassed the American, and I think that they felt small. We made them feel small. This is how I think about it, because I know me. I'm petty. I'm hella petty. I would do something like that, just like he did, right? I would say, okay, you made me look bad. Okay, I'm gonna end up hurting you in anyways, because I've already put it in his mind. I've already planted the seed in this player's mind. This player's already halfway out of the door since he came back. He came back from the hairdresser, not the motherfucking World Cup, the hairdresser. Okay, he got the blonde. The blonde went into this fucking guy's brain. You want to be in Chelsea? Fine. Enjoy the fish and chips for as long as you can. You can pay plenty of it. Enjoy the weather. Enjoy the.
Absolutely.
The fish and chips.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, or
Well, we
the
knew,
bratwurst,
you know what?
or the spotted dick or whatever the fuck it is that they eat out there.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll tell you
Shit.
right now. Like it's sometimes I feel embarrassed for some fans because they get so wrapped up with
We get that, Jason.
players and we get so disappointed, but then we ignore certain facts. Fact is, he said that Benfica was a stepping stone in his career.
Yeah, he did.
To a bigger league, to a bigger team. That's a fact. He said that.
Yeah.
It wasn't denied. He said that. The in one way, you can look at it as we were fucked by the fact that there was an early World Cup. But then in another way, we probably benefited because there was an early World Cup because we wouldn't have sold them for $120 million. If I'm Benfica, I'm sending a basket of fruit to Villa Sarsfield because if it wasn't for them knocking out our friends River Plate from the Copa Libertadores, we wouldn't have gone in Enzo until January, and Enzo wouldn't have been in the World Cup because he wouldn't have been profiled the same way that he had for the last 6 months playing in the Champions League and in Portugal the way he played. Right, so he wouldn't have even he probably wouldn't have made the Argentinian team. So he wouldn't have even sniffed the World Cup, and he would have been coming to Benfica in January. And would he have been sold in June? Probably not. Maybe, who knows? But not for $120 million, right?
I think it was the perfect storm, and like you said, it was if the World Cup had been in the summer, he would have never gone to the World Cup.
It wasn't a normal transfer window. Absolutely not.
And here's the exciting thing. Oh, I'm sorry, Mario. Here's the exciting thing is that, like this comment says right here, we're running football as a club, a football club, not a business anymore. This, to me, the sell of Enzo ended up being a football club move, right? Because what would Vieta do with $80 million? Nothing. He would have built another fucking building next to the Seychelles so that he can what he have done is,
what he have done? He would have parked it in the bank account and leveraged it for his own personal interests to get another loan,
a bank loan,
and then you project Kyle Lucas to say, look at I brought you
exactly. So now you have a guy, $80 million we have in the bank. Is that the cost? Is that the right number? Because I hear a lot of different numbers.
Supposedly give or take. And I also fully expect the club to take some of that money towards auxiliary costs, debts, other things they got to do. I understand that all of it's going to come back, but I am, again, talking about being excited today and living the dream today. Part of the other thing is, like, obviously I hope we win the Liga and we do well in the Champions League. But even if Rui Costa just throws $40-50 million back into the kitty, you sign 2 players at $25 million. You can sign 2 very good players to reinforce the squad.
Absolutely.
And just do what you just fucking did, Mario, and sign a $10 million player like we did fucking Enzo Fernandez. Is really what it ended up being.
No, but
$10 million.
I think we can now really start. I don't know, man. I'm believing more and more in the project. It's exciting.
Absolutely.
I'm so hyped right now. It's a good time. It's a good time.
I think that's what makes it cool. That $80 million makes it better. It's more value.
You've also opened up the Portuguese market and Benfica in general. To a whole South American market that's looking at transfers in a different way. So no longer are they going to just sell the player on for a base fee, right? They're going to look at add-ons, right, or a percentage of the future sale,
player,
right? Yeah. They're looking at that, rubbing their hands, saying, "Holy shit!" River Plate just ended up making about 40 to I forget the number. I think it's 47 million. At the end of the day,
our buy fee and their cut off this transfer.
Exactly. So you've actually now opened up a whole market to Benfica. Before it was a very competitive market, and more often than not, we would have been piped by some of the bigger squads. That's kind of this transactions has probably evened it out because now some teams are probably going to look at it and say, you know what? Maybe we should sell it to Benfica or sell this player to Benfica because they're gonna polish that gem. It's a rough gem. It's a rough diamond. They're going to polish it and then serve it up to the top 5 leagues and sell them on for 40-50 million. And we're going to get cut for it versus selling it for a basement price to one of the top 5 teams. So it may actually end up improving our chances and landing some good prospects out of South America, right?
And there's
you'll never get the Endricks of the world, like those guys.
The next Neymar.
Those guys are always going to sign for Real Madrid because Real Madrid.
They've been scouted out since they was 7. You know what I mean?
The cream of the crop is always going to end up at Julian Alvarez and Endrick and Vinny and Rodrigo. Those guys end up going to Real Madrid straight to the top teams because they're just generational talents. But the next level of player that comes out of South America that is an excellent player,
good quality talent.
They're probably not going to. They're going to look at the opportunity to go to Benfica because they're going to end up getting more playing time versus competing against 3 or 4 players in the same position out of Manchester City. That's why Benfica and the Portuguese league in general becomes more appealing because for the player, they're going to get more game time. And for the team, they're going to get a nice little add-on fee that they could end up making even more money when Benfica or Sporting Porto end up flipping that player for 40, 50, 60 million bucks, right? So it's going to be a good, interesting time for the Portuguese league.
Also, I think success brings success. You go back-to-back in the Champions League quarterfinals. Hopefully we do that. We do well. There's a situation with Enzo. There was a point in time in history, you mentioned Porto winning the Champions League, but also doing well. They were getting the Hulks, the Yamazes, the Falcaos. They're getting talents that were very exciting out of Latin America. And they went, well, if I go here, I'm guaranteed going to be in the big spotlight of the Champions League. I'm going to be winning titles. And we've now, taken that from them and taken it from other clubs. And if the bid is relatively similar, if Ajax is bidding for a player, if even some other, La Liga side, like Atletico Madrid is bidding for a player, let's say Atletico Madrid's paying 10 million more, but they want the entire rights, and we're coming in lowballing, but saying, hey, we'll share the rights. Greed might kick in for the other club saying, hey, we're going to make more giving it to Benfica, and we're sharing the risk. Because if I had $40 million for a really good Latin American player, or we spend, $15 million on 3 players, like 15 each, like really good talents, but you're sharing the risk. If a couple of those flop, okay, fine. We spent 15. We got some good players, but weren't good enough. But, you can get more. I'm excited. I want to pop in.
But even when they flop, it's not like we're losing our shirts. Somehow, some way, we're also flipping the money, the player back, and not losing.
$500,000 on John Brooks.
Well, look at Everton. Everton. Sibling is a perfect example.
That's a good one.
Sibling is a perfect example. We bought him for, I forget what it was. It was 17 million or something. It was 16 or 17 million. I think it was like 18
or something like that. Yeah,
Yep. Top talent already because he was already in the Brazilian national team. So he comes over, flops in Portugal, goes back. But we didn't lose him for $2-3 million. We ended up selling him for $15 million. So at the end of the day, we lost a couple million on that transaction, fine, plus the salary we paid him for a year or 2 seasons. But at the end of the day, it's not like we're losing our shirts on those transactions.
No, it was
even Raul Tomás is the same thing.
It was. But you rented him for $5 million, and then you ended up really trading Everton, and you got Neres right on a free. So that's kind of how I looked at it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Pedrinho was sold. Oh God. Yeah. Pedrinho, and then you got Neres. Jesus, like we're like that episode of Seinfeld where Jerry was always evening it out at the end.
Breaking even.
Break even Jerry. Benfica's break even Benfica.
Except when it comes to that top talent. Except when it comes to that top talent, and then we're going way past breaking even. We're making
top talent. We're George Costanza. We're fucking
that's that. Benfica got that George Costanza wallet right now. That's who we got. That George Costanza just got billfold, baby.
But
there's 15 sold him for 12. He flopped.
12, right?
We didn't lose our shirts on him, right?
Listen, when you make $500,000 on John Brooks, I don't want to fucking hear it, man. I don't want to hear no bad shit about nobody in the front office this year. Okay, you made $500,000. You made $500,000 on a free mid-season panic transfer. Somebody knows what they're doing up there.
That's the thing. Like I'm seeing that they're putting some good names in the chat, like Walshman and other guys like that. It's the thing that you look at it, the spread business. We throw 15, we throw 20, maybe we get 15 or a little bit less back, but it wasn't much of a loss. Like really a $2 million loss. We could have spent $2 million on a gamble and got 0 back because they're worthless. And there is also a market. Like if you're grabbing a top Brazilian player, I'm not saying like the best of the best, not the Neymar, but a player that is loved in the Brazilian league, or a guy that's loved in the Argentine league, and they're like, this is the future. And he comes to us like, that's Everton. Everton was the next big guy. Came to us,
he was.
great.
Yeah,
But
Luis was eating
Brazilian
onions on the fucking
Brazilian
show.
clubs
Every
will be
time
dying.
I scored.
They're dying to get an Everton back. Like the thing is, they have such a
He
big
went back.
brand
He's not doing
name
shit.
recognition that it makes it easy to flip him back and get most of the
Get
capital
money.
back.
Yeah.
So it's we're doing good, man. I'm happy. I'm excited. I
am
can't
too.
wait. I hope I get to be in Portugal. I'm gonna do that, Sergio. I'm gonna go.
You'll do it.
I can't go tomorrow. I'll have to go next week. I'm gonna go to the Canada passport and be like, it's because I'm a foreigner. You're doing this to me. Why do you hate immigrants?
Probably.
I foreign pronoun. You just don't like me, and then they're gonna get this passport and go platter.
You're gonna go viral. All right, man. We really appreciate. We went well over, but I think it was worth it. I think we got into.
I just want to say
no, absolutely not. It was great. I think we did what we came here to do. Me and Sergio for the game, and then you came in, and we had the Super League. We had just a whole different dynamic and a whole different topic. So it was awesome, man. I really appreciate both of you guys.
I'll say one thing. Zach just said that maybe Gedge can be our new Rafa. I would absolutely love that. If Rafa if Gedge were to stay permanently, if we worked out a deal with Wolverhampton,
I think it could happen.
I would be excited for that because he's just a great talent. He's a perfect replacement for him.
And then you go out and get a Nelson Semedo, right, Sergio?
This actually real quick.
And you never know if Grimaldo ends up leaving. There's been rumors about Rafael Guerrero coming to Portugal and playing for Benfica because he's the closet Benfiquista. Yeah. So, hey, maybe we'll build a good squad for next year as well. That's the key.
Maybe in a dream
And
scenario.
we got the Vikings. We got the Danes.
Vikings. Also, maybe in a dream scenario, this whole Manchester City thing does happen. It implodes. They get relegated. And they need to release Bernardo.
Don't say it.
They need to release Bernardo Silva, and
this is not the Nuno Gomes situation where he gets out free and he can sign anywhere. No,
it's gonna be. They're gonna be I hope there's some.
I do think Bernardo Silva will be back one day, but I think his dream is to win a Champions League. Maybe play for Barcelona or win the Champions League this year for Manchester City. He needs to win a Champions League somewhere. Right, and let's be honest, he's got a better chance those places than with us. Obviously,
I do fear Bernardo. So he wants. This is a few months back. He said something around the lines of, he's constantly saying he wants to play for Benfica. He wants to. He's also a very realistic guy. That's very different for his contract situation and the fact that City's going to want to transfer. And he did once make a comment saying, "I want to play, but if at the end of the day Benfica can't buy this thing from City, and if another club comes in with a big contract offer." His fear is, what if someone signs up for 4 more years? He's like, he would love to come back while he still can help. He did say he doesn't really want to be that guy that shows up with nothing to offer either, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I look at a situation in the past where Robert Pires wanted to play for us. He was he was if anybody maybe I'm dating myself for the people on the chat, but he was a former French international, but of Portuguese roots. He was a Benfiquista, right? He played for Arsenal, and he wanted to come play for Benfica, but at the time, early 2000s, we weren't in any good condition to want to come play for us, right? So we've put ourselves in a position where people like Bernardo Silva can easily say, you know what? I've made enough money in my career and won championships out there that I'm now 30 years old and I can spend, the last 5-6 years of my career playing for the club that I love versus them coming back when they're 38, 39, like Pep, right? We want that to happen more often. We want these guys to come back in their prime or slightly past the prime, but close enough to the prime that they're still impactful. Rui Costa, love him. He came back, but he was already past his prime. But he wanted to come back, right? But you want a player of those qualities to come back when they can still give it something, right, and contribute. And Bernardo Silva, if he were to come back within the next 3 years, would be an awesome thing for this club. Probably one of the biggest signings since. I dare to say it, since Simon Sabrosa, right? So it would be transcending because
huge.
It would be I pick out Simone Sabrosa because that was a transfer that really it was a turning point for the club because
it's like we're rebuilding.
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
that or even Renato Sanchez. That's a very good call out there too, right? But getting those kind of players back in their prime would be such a great thing for this club because we're so used to selling players in their prime or before their prime, and to get them back so they could contribute and then they could potentially push us to the next level and get us into the semis or the finals of the Champions League. Fantastic, right?
I think a guy like love to have Renato Sanchez back in a heartbeat. It'd be amazing. I hope, as horrible as it sounds, I hope
injuries, man.
he continues not to work out at
healthy.
PSG and they loan him to us next year and they try that. It'd be lovely.
Hey, do you guys know that?
Oh my God, I feel sorry. Hold on, I feel officially old. Jake said, "French man, left midfielder, know him from
you
FIFA,
seen him?
LOL."
FIFA. Yeah, he's a legend. Yeah, he's a football.
He's a legend on FIFA.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I feel old now. Oh my God.
No, you know what's funny? Rui, going back to FIFA, he was playing FIFA and he picked the Legends team against you, right? Because he wanted to see if he can get it. So he picked this Legends, and he's like, "I got this guy Rooney on the Legends. Was he really like good back in the day?" And I was like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh, stop a second." And he shows me. I'm like, "Son of a bitch, he's on there." And he's like, "Well, who is he?" I'm like, "He's the same age as like Ronaldo. He played with them, except he was shit and he had to retire early." And he's like, "What? He's that?" I thought he was like an old man from the black and white days. I'm like, "No,
he became shit. He wasn't shit. He became old." I gotta defend Rooney. My boy. I gotta defend
DC
Rooney.
United Rooney. It was DC United.
Bicycle kick Rooney. Bicycle kick Rooney was on his motherfucking wheels.
There's a moment where Rooney was like, he was half decent for a bit. Yeah,
was half decent, Mario. I think Rooney was just half decent.
Not Carlos Tavares. Not Carlos Tavares level. He was no Fernando Torres, if you know what I mean. But
oh god,
I'm trying to figure out. He was a Didier Drogba. I'm trying to throw out like guys from his time.
Bald Rooney, I'll tell you, Bald Rooney was a menace, bro. Those years that he was like at 5-6 years, like he had top, like he was on this shit,
he had a good like 4 or 5 years, and then once he got the hair plugs, it all went to his head, and he just went.
Yeah, he just got that English body. You know what I'm saying? A lot of spotted dick, a lot of shit that don't really supposed to go in you. You know what I'm saying? And
a lot of shit that ain't supposed to go in you. Spotted dick is one of them. I think.
Yeah, I mean, so. That's all I'm saying. But speaking of people who would like to come, I mean, I don't think you want to talk about Portuguese people. What about having rescuing Ronaldo from Al Nassr there, Mario? You think he would come and play for Benfica for a year to play in Champions?
Benfica. He's in heaven right now. He got his 4 goals.
He got his 4 goals. That's why I brought him up. I was like,
he's had his stats. He's like, I know what.
Hey, have you guys ever watched the video? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, I felt bad because he is a man that's been living in a bubble like many of these celebrity players are, right? And I really think there's a lot of he was disillusioned for a bit about where he is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And he did a lot in his career, this and that, and all this stuff. But he's always had a terrible ego and arrogance. But I think it's also because the bubble he was in. And the sadness that he had from what was happening last year and all this shit and everyone. And the thing I do hate, to be honest, because it's affiliated with Portugal. Anytime I follow Portugal as a feed on my Twitter. Nowadays, most of that feed is just Argentinian people shitting on us, and it's kind of annoying. So I'm happy it's kind of slowly going by the wayside, but I also kind of feel bad for the guy. And I saw that little highlight clip of him scoring the goal today, and he looked like a happy kid. Good for him. I hope he stays in the Middle East. I hope he enjoys this next 2-3 years.
I heard that he has some kind of agreement. I don't know if that shit's true, but I heard he had some kind of agreement with Newcastle. Like if Newcastle made it to the Champions League.
I don't know. There is that because they're owned by the
same one.
By the same like owners. That if they make it to the Champions League, they would loan them to Newcastle or some shit like that.
It's kind of what City did with Terry, right? But it's like whatever. You know what?
I say he doesn't finish that contract out there, does he? How many years is it?
3 years?
2 years, 2.5 years,
2.5 years. No, I could be honestly just if he does well now, if he gets in a nice rhythm, he's blowing the lights out there, which should be pretty goddamn easy. But he blows light, and the owners love him, and all this other hype, and Newcastle does qualify for Champions League, just from a marketing and merchandise standpoint, the amount of Newcastle jerseys that would get sold, even if it's just to do a cameo and do a few games, they'll go nuts. It's like the Beckham fact. Beckham was not that great for his tail end of his career. My God, wherever he went, it would just
when he was with the Galaxy.
Media.
Yeah, when he was with the Galaxy at the end, even in the MLS, when he was with the Galaxy, man, it was a shit show every fucking game. I mean, this shit was crazy. It was like the Jeremy. Remember what you guys remember? Jeremy Lin. Remember when Jeremy Lin was doing good in the NBA and like half of the Chinese media was there? It's like that's how it was when
it's crazy.
Beckham was out here in the MLS.
That you would have.
I actually saw him. I got to see him.
Beckham or Jeremy?
Yeah, Beckham. No, Beckham.
Yeah.
When he was with the Galaxy.
Yeah. No, I remember
cool.
I can't remember. I remember I was pissed off also early days of TFC because they're still an early team in Toronto. And they faced LA Galaxy in the CONCACAF Champions League. And it was the knockouts, and the knockouts come super early, and it's Canadian, early March, either late February, early March. I remember it was like borderline freezing rain. It was just shitty as fuck. I was all excited. I'm going to go see, knockout Champions League. I know it sucks in North America, but it's against LA Galaxy. Beckham didn't want to fucking play. It was
that was at the
Sky
Dome, but that was
there's one that they did at the BMO Field when they still had fake grass, and he refused to play.
Yeah, we can get on this forever.
I know they played one in Sky Dome, but I was at BMO Field.
Beckham is one of those players that like he gets a lot of shit, but I appreciated Beckham for what he was. You know what I'm saying? He was a polarizing figure. He was a United player. Like I never thought that he was the greatest. You know what I mean? Like when he played, I never thought that he was the best player in the league. You know what I mean? He might have been one year might have been the best player in the world.
No, I appreciate guys, what I'm saying, who grow the sport in North America.
That's it. I think Beckham kind of was just cool. Yeah. He's just a cool player, cool guy. Like
he's effing a Spice Girl. He's coming over here. He's like,
hell yeah. What you want?
Mm-hmm.
What you really
want? Like no, seriously. When a player, to me, I don't care about their nationality.
What's up with them bald being menaces, bro? Bald Rooney, bald Beckham,
bald Beckham. Pep. That guy's a terror.
Yeah,
he's a terror. You got a little anger.
Go bald. You can't go wrong. If you go bald, you won't go wrong. I'll tell you that. But anyways, guys, we are hitting 2 hours, man.
Yeah.
And
thank you for this extra extended edition. I know I kind of
watched it. It was fun, man.
I got my passport questions answered by Sergio. I feel like I accomplished something.
I think that we gave the people what they wanted. You know what I mean? Something provocative. You know what I mean? And it made them dance. So you know what I'm saying? I think that's cool. And I really had a great time. It gets the people going. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The referees in Portugal, they get the people going. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you,
those guys.
But hey, man, it was a tough day. Benfica took the L against Braga in the shootouts. It is what it is. We're on to the next, on to Club Bruges. And before we get out of here and before I run this next time, I just want to ask you guys real quick: Do the Vikings are they sitting on the bench come Champions League?
They're in the Wednesday. I think he's playing his best. He's playing his best. The kids don't have any minutes yet. I hope they get minutes in the Liga, but they're not playing. That's my take.
Okay. So I just want to put in the background, so support our guys. We're gonna just place it in the background now. We're gonna get up out of here.
We got to update that thing.
We do got to update that thing. We got to update that, and we got to just shout out real quick to the chat again. João, Reigning Entertainment, D came in, Zach Silva, of course, everybody, Benfica fan who joined in. Everybody.
I saw Cindy in there.
Cindy was in there. I didn't catch that. Cindy, thank you for joining us.
I don't know, man. I just like
she be in the chats. It's we love all the support. We really do. But we'll see you guys Wednesday. I think for sure. Mario, we good for Wednesday?
Let me check my agenda. 1 second. Is this thing still on?
This thing is still on.
Okay, good. I'm just checking my calendar. 1 second. Swipe. Wednesday. You know what? Yeah, you know what I did? I put a sneaky to be determined meeting appointment that hasn't confirmed yet for Wednesday.
Boom. If you're not busy, brother, if you want to come on, man, I would love to have you on Wednesday. If you're not too busy, we can. I'm
so happy I forgot to cancel at the Zone, so I get to watch the Champions League on my phone.
I forgot to cancel my Paramount, so I get to do the same thing. Thank you guys for Mr. Mello, for Sergio, for Mario. We really appreciate you guys, and we'll get them next time. Peace.
Bye.
See you guys.